Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Sunday, the 22nd of Rabi'ul Awwal 1443, corresponding with the English date 8th of October 2023. Hazrat Wala Damat Barakatuhum has the kitab in front of him and is saying that this kitab, I read from it quite often, and no matter how much I read from it, it is less. I can say it encapsulates the teachings of Hazrat Tanvi Rahimahullah. So here, Al-Qa'idatu Thamina, the eighth principle in the purification of the nafs, and that is Satiyo or Hamnashiniyo ka intikhab karna, the choosing of the right friends and the correct company. So here Allah Ta'ala is saying, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عيناك عنهم تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا. So here Allah Ta'ala is commanding Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to go out and sit in the companionship of his ummatis. So when the Nabi is commanded to select his company and to sit amongst good company, then what about the people then who would come afterwards? You were sent and commissioned to these people. You have to come out from your private chamber and sit amongst them. So in this ayat here, Allah Ta'ala is saying, keep yourself with those who invoke their Rabb, morning and evening seeking His countenance. Let not your eyes overlook them, seeking the adornment of this worldly life. Pay no heed to the one whose heart we have rendered heedless of our remembrance, who follows his own lust and whose case exceeds all bounds. Now, when you sit with the ghafilin and those who are negligent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, eventually you would become like that. Hazrat Wala is saying, when you sit with the salihin, their effects will rub off on you. So maybe you would say that it is wrong and you are there, you're sitting there. But most definitely, after some few days, after some days, you will also start doing the same thing. तो जब नबी को हुक्म हमा शुमा कौन है? So when the Nabi has been given the hukam, then who are we? And all of this here is so that we can get the qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a person is spending his life, and together with that he is carrying out his zikr, azkar, a'mal, etc. But when it comes to company, he's sitting amongst the negligent. So then what will happen? The good effects of all of that will be erased. This year, what is mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the tariq, this path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this one principle is a very important ingredient and part of that recipe of reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is Sahbat Salih, the companionship of the pious. Don't think that you are dindar. Thereafter, Hazrat Wala quotes an incident of a person who comes about to his friend's house, and then it is the time of iftar. The friend says to him, come sit, let's make iftari. And then he's withheld, he doesn't say anything. The friend was sharp, he was smart, he already collected looking at his body language, etc., that something has gone terribly wrong here. Nevertheless, he says, okay, whatever it is, but for now, this is food. Sit down and eat. It's a meal. He eats. Nevertheless, he speaks and he says that I read something from certain kitab, due to which doubts of Islam started running through my heart and my mind, and I feel that I have left the fold of Islam. I've got these objections, etc. Nevertheless, this person said to him that he didn't tell him anything. He just told him one thing. Now this again, look at it. Doesn't it speak volumes about companionship of the pious? He said, tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, go and visit Sheikh Shah Fadlur Rahman Ganj Moradabadi. Nevertheless, he leaves. Hazrat Sheikh Fadlur Rahman Ganj Moradabadi was sitting in his veranda. You know, you have those half walls there, that little stoop, and he sees this person coming from the distance. He already calculates him. This is the firasat that Allah Ta'ala has blessed the pious personalities with. He sees he sees it in the face, he jumps that wall and he starts running to this person. He takes his palm and he starts striking it on the chest of this person. 1, 2, 3, and a few times like that he strikes his palm on the chest of this person and then instantaneously asks him, tell me, now do you still have any doubts of Iman, Islam, Allah and Rasul? And he says, Hazrat, I've got no doubts. As if at that time all his shubahat and all his doubts were removed and Iman was then re-poured into his heart. तो बहकने में दूर नहीं लगती है. For a person to go off the path, it doesn't take a long time. और हमेशा दुआ करते रहना चाहिए कि अल्लाह ताला हमको दीन पर कायम और दाइम रखे, and continuously make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He keeps us steadfast on the deen. And more than that, Hazrat Wala is saying, in this time and age, all the more a person should be so cautious. He should be so cautious. Now here, in the tafsir of this particular ayah that we quoted to you initially, Sheikh Sadi says that this verse instructs us to be in the company of good people and to impose on the nafs to remain in their company and intermingle with them even if they are poor. This is because there are countless benefits in being in their company. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned, "Ar-rajulu ala dini khalili, falyanzur ahadukum may yukhalil." A person follows the ways of his friend. You should therefore be vigilant on whom you befriend. Now, Abu Sulaiman al-Khattabi rahimahullah says that, speaking about this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says it means that you should befriend a person whose religiosity and trustworthiness you are satisfied with. When you befriend him, he will inevitably draw you towards his religion and creed. Do not be deluded into having a confidence about your own religiosity, nor put yourself into danger by befriending someone whose religion and creed is disliked. Now it is for this reason that Sayyidina Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala used to say that اعتبروا الناس بأخدانهم فإن المرء لا يخادن إلا من يعجبه. Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala used to say, you may gauge people by their friends. You may gauge people by the friends they keep, because a person only befriends someone who he likes. Allahu Akbar. After that, the author then quotes a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which Abu Musa radiyallahu ta'ala narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. Now before we even continue to that, I will just carry on saying to you what Hazrat Wala remarks and says. He says, in this zamana, we should be so cautious and we should see that where are our children going and what do they have in front of them. we saying something to them and others are putting something else in front of them. And when they go to these people, what are these other people telling them or saying to them, or maybe they even saying it to us, that Maulvi log tumko andheri mein rakhna chahte hai. That these Maulvis are trying to keep you in the dark. Roshni mein nahi aane dete hai. They don't want you to come into the light. Therefore, Hazrat Wala says, as a principle, that na jins se ikhtilat ko mana kiya. It is for this reason that our Buzrugan-e-Deen have always told us not to be in the company of those who are not like-minded. Why? If not today, tomorrow the effects of it will fall on you, due to which you will fall out of the deen. Now this kitab is a kitab of an Arab alim. We made tarjuma of this particular kitab. Now here, in this hadith of Abu Musa radiyallahu ta'ala, he quotes Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam as saying that the example and similitude of a good companion and an evil companion is like that of a perfumer and an ironmonger. The perfumer will either give you some perfume, you may purchase it from him, or you will at least inhale its good fragrance from him. I mean, there's so many benefits there. As for the one who blows the bellows, the ironmonger, he will either burn your clothes or you will inhale foul smell from him. Now Qazi Ayaz rahimahullah, speaking about this hadith, he says this hadith teaches us to abstain from intermingling with evil people, sitting in the company of mischief mongers, those who introduce innovations in Islam, and people who backbite. They make ghibat. This one is like that, this one is like that, that one is like this. This is because the influence of all these will penetrate the one who sits in their company. The hadith encourages us to sit in the company of good people from whom we could acquire knowledge, etiquette, good manners and praiseworthy characteristics. And then lastly, the author says, it is therefore a person's duty to seek out friends who will help him in doing good. The one of the great this year is, they are good friends. It is one of the greatest means for a person to purify and rectify his nafs. He must be wary of intermingling with people and corrupt company, with evil people and corrupt company, because they are more dangerous to him than even scabies. Now, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave an example, and these amthal and examples, they are knowledge on its own, and it has its own effects. It falls so deep down in the heart, and it affects and appeals to the mind so much. Therefore, Allah, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on different occasions emphasized to humanity by means of the usage of examples. One alim has written an example, or the examples that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or this example of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is such that only a Nabi could have given such an example. Hazrat Wala thereafter goes on to say, Sohbat-e-Nek ka ihtimam bahut zaruri hai. It is incumbent to stay in the company of the pious. And Nek sohbat mein sab kuch hasil ho jayegi. You will achieve everything. Now there are so many examples that we can give you. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb used to say, I'm not saying, Allah is saying, Rasul is saying, I'm reading from the kitab of this great or saintly person. Now children's hearts are very tender, they are very soft, and they accept very, very quickly. इसीलिए हज़रत वाला फरमा रहे हैं, अपने बच्चों को, अपने बच्चियों को बचाया करो. Save, look after, protect your children. You know, on one occasion, I took my son Maqbool. He was very young at that time. It wasn't English or it wasn't, I would say, un-Islamic garb. But just because on the sleeve it had a button. But Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab was so meticulous about these things. He reprimanded, and I was the son-in-law, but he reprimanded and he said, Kayega hamara, pehnega tumara. Will he eat mines and weigh yours? Nevertheless, I went in the house and I said that Hazrat is upset about this year. Immediately, they took out the button and Hazrat then was pleased. So now, the perfect and the beautiful example that Hazrat Wala gives, and he says that जो बड़ी औरतें को नहीं पहनना चाहिए तो छोटी बच्चियों को भी नहीं, that what woman of age or middle-aged woman, elderly woman should not wear. The same things our little young girls also from a young age should be taught not to wear those type of clothes. And they should not have an affinity to all these new type of things which are creeping into the ummah. Allahumma aslih, Allahumma aslih ummata Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Oh Allah, rectify the ummah. Make the Islah of the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hazrat Wala is saying that walidain ki zimmedari. This year is the fundamental duty of the parents, that they must teach and give tarbiyat to the children. You know, Qari Mubin Saab, Hazrat Wala is speaking of his Fufa, his uncle, his father, Qari Mubin Saab ke, Qari Mubin's father, that actually the Fufa, the uncle of Hazrat Wala, he's saying, uncle, here we meaning the paternal aunt's husband, Ji. Okay. So he's taking me and about to present me in front of Hazrat Wala. This was on the occasion that where we were saying that he is going to come and maybe propose. It was on the occasion of marriage, etc. And it was on that occasion. So when he went there on that occasion and he took me, he made sure that how was I dressed? I was dressed with a kurta, etc. in that manner, because he understood the mizaj and the temperament of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab. So the Shariat has taught us tremendously about every single thing. How to stand, how to sit, how to eat, how to sleep. Just like how the Shariat taught us ibadat, acts of worship, the Shariat taught us about aqaid. Similarly, the Shariat taught us about mu'amalat, trade and commerce transactions, mu'asharat, social dealings, and akhlaq as well. So Hazrat Tanvi has taught us about adab as well. So when you learn all of this here, aap muaddab honge, you will become cultured, you will become civilized. In the true sense, you will become a human. You know, today we don't even know how to make salam, neither have we taught our children how to make salam. So if we don't teach, then who will teach them? You know, there was a senior person, he came into the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab. He just walked in like that. And Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab made ishara to him that leave. Tell me, did you make salam upon entering? Did you ask permission? Did you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, adkhul, the salam, the masnoon salam, and may I enter? You know, such adab, even when kitkitana, that itna zor se कि आदमी वहाँ अंदर से घबरा जाएगा, that he's sitting inside, he'll mess his pants also. So here Allah Ta'ala is teaching us and telling us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu dukhulu fis silmi kaffa. O people of Iman, enter into Iman in totality. So on one occasion, a very great alim was giving a bayan in a lecture. Hazrat Wala is saying, I was present at the jalsa and I was asked to speak after him. He spoke about udkhulu fis silmi kaffa, enter into Islam in totality. He said whatever he had to say, and then I started making tashri of his kalam by telling the people what is the meaning of udkhulu fi silmi kaffa. And I told them of these 5 great departments and fundamentals. One is aqaid, and then ibadat, muamalat, muasharat, and akhlaq. So the deen is absolutely simple. Allah addresses us and says, Qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Save yourselves and your family from the fire of Jahannam. तो दीन इख्तियार करने में हमारे लिए आफियत है. When we adopt deen, there will be peace, नूर and बरकत for us. And छोड़ने में तो हम तो इस्लाम की दीवार को मुनहदिम करेंगे. We will ourselves destroy the structure and the wall of Islam. Now, मालूम करे कि अकाइद क्या है, उसको दुरुस्त कर ले. इबादत क्या है, कैसा है, उसको दुरुस्त कर ले. We must find out what is our aqaid. We should rectify it. Our ibadat, how to carry it out. Our muamalat, our trade and transactions, the different types of trade. Muasharat, our social interaction. And not only that, we don't restrict it to ourselves, rather teach it to our children as well. Command our children to read Salat. Anyway, let us make an effort, and Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of making amal on the ta'limat of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that we also benefit from it. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is saying that I have been commissioned to complete and to perfect a good character. बहिश्त आ जाके आज़ारे न बाशत, कसे रा कसे आज़ारे न बाशत. You know, in Jannah, no one will inconvenience the next person. In Jannah, there is no taklif. You know, this type of couplets were written in the Khanqa of Hazrat Tanvi, trying to teach the people that no person should inconvenience the next person. Now, I ask you and I extend this request in your presence that I'm not feeling well. Make dua for my health so that I can do some work. I've got much work to do regarding writing and compiling of kitabs, etc. And the silsila that is going on here, Allah Ta'ala keep it continuous. Allah Ta'ala mujhe bhi tawfiq de, and this fuyuz and this barakat and this ta'aleem and this akhlaq of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb and Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb, Allah Ta'ala bless us all with that. You know, I went to Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb, Hazrat Wala is saying on one occasion, and I heard him saying this, asli akhlaq darkinar, rasmi akhlaq bhi nahi. You know, the original akhlaq, that is far-fetched. Just basic, ordinary, external, outward akhlaq, courtesy has even left the ummah. What can I tell you? It was those words that had such a profound effect on me. Allah Ta'ala inspire us. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ بِحُرْمَةِ سَيِّدِ النَّبِيِّ الْكَرِيمِ صلى الله عليه وسلم.